This is Joe Markowitz with today's Liberty Dispatch. I know a lot of you have been asking, Joe, what's your thoughts on what happened this last week? Where are we at with this? And so let me give it a shot. I probably can't cover everything on this, but let's get right to it. I'm going to call this Liberty Dispatch Sit Down and Shut Up Part 2. There's a reason for that. And I hope that after today we can keep doing this, but the chances are this may be my last Liberty Dispatch on these platforms. So let's make the best of it and let's figure out how to stay in touch. I've also am encouraging you to get on our Sons of Liberty Dispatch email distribution. Go to defender-gear.com, go on the homepage right in the bottom, and you can sign up for our email distribution list, and we'll probably have to use that a little bit while a lot of the social media plays on out. Obviously, Twitter. This may be my last opportunity to be on Twitter, on Instagram, maybe even Facebook, YouTube channel. We'll see. So get on that email distribution list so we can stay in touch with you as we make our transition over to other places where we can do some a little bit more, we can speak a little more freely. I am on Parler now. Check that out. Defender Gear, at Defender Gear, no hyphens. Just got started on Rumble. We're going to start using that more. And so let's go. I'm going to encourage you also to check out Faithdom, another social media platform. So this is going to start happening. So here we go. I'm just gonna wing it. I'm gonna talk about January 6th. I hope that I don't just tick off too many of my followers here, but I am going to make some of you mad. I'm just going to give you my take on this. You and I are very aware that that there was election fraud. Without a doubt, there was election fraud. I believe we got played. And I believe that that January 6th was one of our most embarrassing and most damaging days for our side. Let me explain. And I'll try to be calm about this. We got played. Over the last year, the Democrats and the left and progressives and very powerful interest in with a lot of money, social media giants, big tech, the left. Listen, they knew as well as I do, and you know it too, that the Democrats could never win an election straight up. Just can't do it. There's some hot spots, some liberal hot spots around the country that it's going to take Jesus coming back for them to turn from the corruption that they have in their places. But overall, in the state houses, governments, state governors, Senate, House of Representatives, and even the White House, and a straight up election, especially how much Donald Trump, love him or hate him, his administration had done over the last several years, 4 years, and then you bring in this whole COVID thing and that whole all the regulations, the lockdowns, the quarantines, and here's what happened: the left knew exactly what they were doing. They started suing states, and there were hundreds of lawsuits to try to pressure governors to change election law that state legislators by our Constitution were in charge of. And some of these election laws were literally changed 1 and 2 days ahead of the election. They knew exactly what they were doing. And so here it is. Election laws changed without the oversight of state legislators. This has been going on all of 2020. We saw it happen, and our side doesn't know how to fight. Our side was not smart enough to see their plans that they had and how they were strategically aligning things on up. So a just in case scenario for November 3rd, if things were not going good, especially in those targeted swing states, they could pull this, and you saw it happen right before your eyes, that coordinated shutdowns of counting, of vote counting. How do you do that? Who made that call? But that's for another Liberty Dispatch. And then here comes the vote dumps, and using under the cover of the mail-in ballots, the left knew exactly what they're doing. We were played. And we saw it happen right underneath our noses, but we didn't do anything. Conservatives, patriots, we don't fight in this realm. We like to be left alone. We love our freedom. We love our independence. We're out building our small businesses. We're out creating jobs. We were generally at peace. The country was prospering before this whole COVID shutdown. Incredibly so. And we didn't see right under our noses what the left was doing to take advantage of and manipulate our upcoming election. Then comes the election. We saw it all happen. I'm kind of surprised that the Trump legal team did not act in a different manner. Some of our detractors are saying, you guys lost every single one. Look, every court threw your stuff out. There was nothing there. That's not true. They threw out and dismissed these cases on standing, not merits. On merits, meaning the evidence had to be presented, discovery, and now it's a different procedure. But courts lacked courage. They didn't want anything to do with it. The Supreme Court didn't want to touch this. Of course, the left didn't want to touch this, and weak-kneed rhino Republicans didn't want to touch this. And so here it all comes down to, and I don't need to play out, but January 6th. And Joe, what's your take on what happened in Washington, D.C.? I completely agree with the fact that there's a tremendous amount of frustration with patriots, with Trump supporters. 75 million Trump voters upset that they see their democratic republic being corrupted right before their eyes. And they see their elected representatives just doing nothing, not fighting back. Republicans don't know how to fight back. They don't know how to strategically fight. And we've been on our heels the whole time. So here it is, hundreds of thousands, some people actually say 1 million supporters, peaceful protest. But you know as well as I do, and you should have known it, and the leadership should have known it. And Donald Trump, our president, bless his heart, stood on stage at that rally this last Wednesday and yes, said, peaceful, don't cause violence. Yes, I know. But there were already Antifa, BLM, and other extreme groups already inserted in the crowd, wearing Trump caps, acting like they're Trump supporters. But you know that they were going to instigate violence. They were there for a purpose. We also know on the far right, and I criticize the far right, is QAnon people, and they didn't help things at all. For the most part, it was a peaceful protest. I have friends that were there. I've spoken to many of them, and they didn't see anything. It was actually a beautiful day, a day of patriotism and prayer and song and speeches, peaceful protest. But the left knew exactly what they were doing. As the crowd moves to the Capitol, you've seen the videos like I have. And here it is, the flag waving. Inside, they're about ready to take up the election and the debate about the electors. Vice President Pence, I didn't agree exactly with that way he went about it. But look, they were this close in that process of being able to decertify Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, that was, I'm not going to say a done deal, but they're well on their way. Pennsylvania, definitely. Georgia, potentially Arizona. If you let it play out, if the process was allowed that senators and congressmen were able to now make the case why they're objecting to the electors from these certain states, and they could have sent it back to the states and their legislatures, they could have done it, and I would not be surprised if Vice President Pence would have done that. But here it is. Idiots got to run up the steps. They've got to break windows. They've got to charge in and now totally blow our whole argument and disrupt the whole process with cameras rolling. And I know some of you are going to say, but that wasn't us. It doesn't matter. You got played. You got played in front of cameras, in front of the world. The seat of democracy in the world, the Congress. And in that crowd, we've got to bust down windows. People were killed that day. We got to run into the Congress, make a scene in front of all the cameras, and the left got exactly what they wanted, and they were able to scare the crap out of all these rhino Republicans and weak knees Republicans who were actually considering objecting and letting evidence be presented about a lot of questionable, fraudulent elections in certain states. But then they caved. Vice President Pence, he caved. He's a good man, but he caved, and the whole thing was over. And now we are set back for years. Years. Because now we're being pegged as the enemies of democracy. It's called propaganda. It's called who owns the information. Look, now the left owns every arm of the government. They control every bit of power of the government. Hate speech laws are already being written. Here comes potentially packing the court. Here comes DC statehood, Puerto Rico statehood. Here comes attacks on our religious liberty. This hate speech laws, even words like patriot, patriotic American, American patriot, are going to be labeled as hate speech. Now we have the censorship going on. This is the purge. The purge has begun to just rid this country of all of us, because we are, look at what we are. We are enemies of democracy because some idiots ran up, busted windows, and charged into Congress in front of the world to see. And now we can't make an argument. We're being doxxed. We're being canceled. We're being dropped off of Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. This may be my last Liberty Dispatch on this platform. Trump supporters, Christians, patriots, conservatives, look out. This is about silencing opposing thought and speech. This is about quieting dissent. This is about submission, and don't doubt me. Don't doubt me. Now you've got senators like Ted Cruz are being called treasonous and guilty of sedition. They attacked Josh Hawley in her home when he's not even there, his wife and newborn. They take away his book contract, his publisher will. Twitter, Apple, Google, Facebook, all the big tech giants. It is to eradicate our movement. They're going to try to impeach president with 12 days left in his term. You know why they're doing that, so he never runs again. This is about submission. This is about now it's payback time. That's why I call this Sit Down and Shut Up Part 2. Until next time, this is Liberty Dispatch. Find me over in Parler, Rumble. Watch me. See ya.